All right. Welcome back to Radio Dumpster, episode 0007
Yeah, I think so.
or 8?
That's exactly where we're
Is
at.
it 7? That's
Seven
my,
or
that's my
eight.
favorite number. Is 7.
Perfect.
We're just going to say it's
7, 7 or 8?
I don't know. What was the last one?
I think it's 8.
Shoot.
Anyways,
I'll live with it.
yeah, we just hit the year mark.
Yeah, we did.
Last Valentine's Day was,
Ooh,
I think, about the first show.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then we took 6 months off. So we're doing okay. We're chugging along.
Yeah.
And we got a guest, which is rare. And
So, who do we have here, Nick?
we've got Jeff with Deco-Crete,
Nice.
the original #1 employee there
The original number one.
that
so,
has stuck it out till now. And Mr. Education guy, Mr. Training guy. He wears a lot of hats. He's well known on the interwebs now. And we're here to talk about Deco-Crete and who they are and where they started, where they're going, all sorts of stuff. We've
Yeah.
known each other a long time.
We have.
Yeah. So I'll just go around the room real quick.
cool.
John's back. Welcome,
Co-host, what's up?
co-host. We got Matt Ross, who is surprisingly back again. You enjoying this?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
invite you
Hold
back
on.
anytime.
This is Matt's like Thursday night thing now. This is
Yeah.
this is what Matt does.
And
John's wife makes amazing cookies.
She does. She's just good at cooking and baking and all the things.
yeah, so we're gonna get to it. And Jeff, just tell us where you started with Deco-Crete. From the beginning, you were an employee of the owner Jason. You guys were doing stamped concrete jobs. You were installers, and from my understanding, you were having issues with some of the national suppliers that sold the products that made decorative concrete happen. I see. We take for granted we know what decorative concrete is, but these guys don't. So.
Nope.
They're like, well, can you talk on that just a little bit? So we'll try to keep it on topic because we got a lot to cover. But tell us where you started and where you're at now. I think it's 4 locations now.
Yeah, 4 locations plus an online store plus manufacturing, and so man, it is it's pretty amazing because I was there fairly early. Now I will say, how did I start in this? Honestly, I started as a customer.
Oh,
Jason opened up Deco-Crete in 2006, which was right about at the time that I was getting into decorative concrete. I poured my first decorative concrete job, I want to say 05. And
Yep.
yeah, it was tough to find stuff. There was one store in Canton that had a very small amount of decorative supplies. And I'm talking like they might have had some color and they had a few sets of stamps that we can rent. And it's actually funny because we had a job, it was first stamp job of the year, and I want to say it was probably 05, that was actually probably 06. And first stamp job of the year, we got the job all prepped. It's all dug out, formed up, ready to pour. I head up to that store to get some color. I pick up the color, pick up the stamps. And I get there, and I walk in, and they had the color ready to go for me. And I said I had these stamps reserved. And the guy looks at me. He's like, "Oh, we don't have those." It was Arizona Flagstone was the stamps I was looking for. And he's like, "Well, we don't even have Arizona Flagstone, much less they're not even the Flagstone stamps we have aren't even here. Somebody else has them." And I already had thought I set this up, and so I'm kind of defeated at this point. I'm like, "Shh, we got concrete coming tomorrow."
Concrete doesn't
It's-
matter.
we-
Doesn't
yeah.
matter the size you are. It doesn't wait on anybody.
No.
It sets up. So.
No.
And it's coming the next morning.
And
Like,
you may have had a week of rain, and you finally have guys lined up, extra help lined up. So, like to have a good supplier, really in anything you do in life, but especially something that's time sensitive like concrete
Yeah.
is like very important.
So-
And-
yeah, and so I leave there, and I'm just defeated at this point. Like, what am I going to do? I got to call my boss now and tell him we got to push the concrete
Yeah.
back. I can't get stamps. So first thing I do, I'm like, oh, you know what? I remember Jason had stopped past our shop like, I don't know, a month before that, said he's opening up this store, and I already knew Jason just kind of on a personal level at this point. So I called Jason up. I was like, hey, man, please tell me you got Arizona Flagstone stamps. Like, I just told him the whole story of what I just told you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, yeah, we got them, man. Just stop by. And at this time, Deco-Crete was in Jason's basement. That was
Okay.
Deco-Crete. Is you walked in Jason's basement, you put your order in with their one employee at the time, who was his wife. And so I call him up. He's like, yep, we got them. I stop in there. Go into the basement. I talk to his wife, and she sets me up with the stamps. And I leave that Deco-Crete at that time, which was Jason's house. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy bailed me out like incredibly. And after that, it wasn't even a question. We're going back to Deco-Crete to buy everything we need for decorative concrete. And so this is when I was working for a different company.
Okay.
Anyways, that's where I started is as a customer. And then
Jason was doing installs as well.
He was still doing installs. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, that's why he wasn't even at the office that day,
Yeah.
because he was out pouring concrete. When I called him that day, he was on a job site. We get the stamps, and he tells me, he's like, I'll get your invoice ready in a little while, and I'll call you. And so he called me like the next week. He's like, I got your invoice ready. Let's meet up at like Longhorn or something like that. And he's like, I just want to, tell you about my business and what we have in mind. So I meet him there, and we talk for like an hour. He offers me a job that night to come work for him pouring concrete. And don't get me wrong, I'm the company I'm working for, I was very loyal to at that time. So I was kind of like, well, dude, I really appreciate that, but I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. So that went on for a couple years, and it honestly got to a point where I really wanted to just pour decorative concrete every day. Because at that time I'm doing like the once a month stamp job, which is tough. And for those of you guys who don't understand decorative concrete versus standard concrete, it's a completely different world, different tools, different everything. You need so many little knickknacks for decorative concrete that it got to be overwhelming. Like you're sitting there the night before making this list of what you need, and it just got to be tough. And so I was at a point where I was like, all right, that's fine. I want to take this job for Jason. So I call him up. This is a couple years after that incident I just described. So I call him up one day. I'm like, dude, I'm ready to come work for you. And this is like, I don't know, maybe like June or July or something like that. And he's like, I don't know, man. I kind of got everything I need for the summer. Like,
wow.
I don't really need anybody else. And so I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. So it took a couple times of him offering me a job, me asking him for a job, and then after, all of a sudden the timing became right. And I want to say this is in 2010, that all of a sudden he needed somebody. I was ready to move into that. And so I started working for him in the field, installing decorative concrete every day.
Awesome.
And so now all of a sudden what I was doing maybe once a month, I'm doing on a daily basis, and it just becomes second nature. And so the knowledge just really, really increased at that point. And then I want to say it was in 2012. So I did that for a few years. And then in 2012, this is after the World of Concrete, where we did the big martini glass.
I met you Nick, shortly after that because I borrowed the martini glass. This thing was, I don't even know how tall it made the Akron Beacon Journal.
I can get you some photos if you want.
It came up on my timeline the other day, and they did it in Vegas. It was a flaming concrete martini glass.
Yeah.
And I said, "Do you still have that?" And they're like, "Well, we don't have the pedestal anymore, but we have the top." So I was at the time doing home and flower shows. So I said, "Do you mind if I borrow it?" They're like, "Actually, we want the thing out of here. It's taking too much room
in our shop."
So I don't know what the point of it was in our display, but I thought it was pretty cool, and we made water come out.
And you
top.
made the newspaper, right?
Yeah, we made the newspaper, and then I think my obsession with like the vertical concrete and epoxy flooring and concrete countertops at the time were just coming out inside kitchens. The wheels were just turning for me. But in my business, I'm really good at what I do, and it's again, you've got to find your niche.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do. I've been in pretty much every training that they've offered, just because I love it.
Yeah.
But to do it as a full-time living, the amount of risk you take on as an installer.
Yeah.
You're really an artist. So if a color is on like a piece of paper that looks, maroonish, and it comes out a little red, more red for a homeowner, the risk and reward working for me, it just from a day-to-day business didn't really make a whole lot of sense. You took on a huge amount of risk. But the guys that are good, I mean, you can make a lot of money doing this. You can make a lot of money doing epoxy, flooring, countertops, what have you. But my day-to-day really isn't focused on it, but I just find it fascinating.
So Jeff, so you got into it, and then now, are you guys mostly just a supplier?
Yeah, that is. We do not pour concrete anymore. I mean,
Okay.
we pour concrete in our training classes and the nonprofit organization, but no, I mean, actually, that business that I first started for Jason was called Cornerstone Concrete, and it hasn't been in existence for probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years.
I've seen the Cornerstone, because you guys used to put like little plaques on. I've actually seen that work. That's great. That's awesome.
So that was the business that I started for. It's not existent. So yes, we are 100%. supply company.
Yeah.
We have 4 stores in Ohio, plus an online store that services the whole country, as well as a manufacturing facility,
Okay.
which we just started maybe 4 years ago. And so
Yeah.
we also sell through distribution throughout the entire country, mostly on the East Coast now, but we're kind of pushing west. So
Yeah.
yes, 100%. The only time we pour is training classes. for the
Yeah.
most part.
So actually, that's great. That's great that you say the training classes. So you're a trainer essentially now. You're, so what got you guys into that? So from pouring to supply, and now, we're doing all these training courses. So how? I mean, what was that evolution like?
So that evolution, and I will back up even before pouring concrete. I
Yeah.
was actually a snowboard instructor for a few years.
Okay,
This is
so you have a
back-
teaching background.
I have a teaching background
Yeah.
from that standpoint.
I didn't
Now,
know
I
that.
will say that at that time, I was really young.
Sure.
And I probably didn't realize what I was learning.
Were you
when I was
Boston Mills
learning.
Brandywine?
Actually, no. I lived in Vermont for a couple of
Oh.
years. I did that literally for that reason. I just wanted to go. I was
Yeah.
probably 20 years old, and I wasn't going to go to college. I was just pouring concrete in the summertime.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do something cool,
And
I
that's
just wanted
super
to
cool.
Get out of town. Put in a couple on. And it's funny because this is like literally 99, 2000. So I went to the library because I didn't even have a computer with internet at home. So
I don't think
went-
anyone did.
I went to the library and I put in like 3 or 4 online applications to a few mountains in Vermont. And I'll go back to the library like every day to check
Yeah.
my email to see if anything come back.
So
And
the hustle, baby.
yeah, absolutely. You had to have like a library card. Like people, the kids these days have no idea what.
No,
that
they
is.
don't. They
Is
don't
there
know
even
what we went
libraries
through.
anymore? Like
There
I
are.
don't- Okay.
Shockingly, yeah, there are. Yeah, I guess they're popular. I don't go there, but I guess they're popular.
Used to be able to take books and CDs
Yeah.
and stuff, but at any rate,
Yeah.
So I get a couple interviews with a couple mountains, and I go up there, and I literally went there for. I took one trip for a weekend, did like 3 or 4 different interviews. I don't know. I went back, and maybe like 3 weeks later,
Okay.
One of the mountains offered me a job. It was actually happened to be the one that I really wanted to work at.
Bam.
And, I was pretty blown away. Like, holy cow, I can't believe they offered me this job
Yeah.
as a snowboard instructor. Now I'm starting to get nervous. Like, oh, do I even know how to teach snowboarding? Can I even
Yeah.
snowboard good enough? And then after about a month of being there, I realized that anybody in the world can get a job as a
Oh.
snowboard instructor. Like, their rules are, do you have a pulse? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Do you own a snowboard? No, we'll get you one. But no, they provide a lot of training. And so I was young, but I didn't realize exactly what I was learning. And I
Okay.
didn't realize how much I loved. I did realize how much I loved teaching snowboarding, but I didn't realize, I guess, like what that might lead to later in life. And so when I first started working for Jason, honestly, even for Cornerstone Concrete, Deco-Crete already existed. He was already
Yeah.
had training classes, and I was there kind of as a helper. I would I remember our first stamp concrete training class. I would at the job site in the morning while they're doing their classroom time, and then the afternoon rolls around when they're pouring, then I would come and help with the class.
Okay.
And then when I started actually working for Deco-Crete, which is around the time that I met Nick, so I was, again, kind of in the background, the helper at the training classes, and then I don't even remember what year it was, maybe 2015, 16-ish, something like that. Our GFRC class, I don't remember. Maybe you were at that class, maybe you weren't. I know you've been to a few of our GFRC classes, but Jason kind of approached me before the class. He's like, hey, man, what do you think about just taking this class
Just
over?
you
and,
do it, man.
Switch roles.
Yeah.
You do you lead the class, I'll be the helper. So we did that, and after the class, we thought it went pretty good. And then just slowly, it was like, okay, take over the epoxy class, take over this class and that class. And honestly, I like doing it probably more than he does, and I have a passion for that kind of thing. And it just was a natural evolution after that. And we got to a point, honestly, I want to say 2019-ish, they offered me a job, the position to actually step out of the store. Not do sales anymore, and basically teach training classes, write data sheets, make YouTube videos.
Now
That's pretty much what I still do to this day. Honestly, R&D, things like that.
do you travel around and teach as well, or
I do, not as much as I once did, but yeah, there's we do about 10 classes per year, and we do those in Columbus, in Cincinnati, sometimes in Cleveland. So I do some traveling, although again it's local traveling, just a few hours away. So I'm gone for maybe half a week. As far as long distance, it's maybe a show or two a year, something like
So
that.
who attends a lot of these classes? Is it because I imagine are there DIY
Oh, that's a good
people
question,
that want to do their own thing? I'm like, hey, I'm really handy. I think I could learn this. And then obviously you probably have the craftsmen and the artisans that are doing this professionally. What's the breakout?
Mostly, I would say it's about 80% contractors.
Yeah, that's what I would think
maybe
too.
20% DIY,
Yeah.
and there might even be some classes where it's 100% contractors. So, but it is a big DIY thing. Our classes aren't. They're not cheap, but they're certainly not expensive.
It is.
And so if you're gonna do something at your house and you don't know what to, let's say you want to do your basement floor in epoxy.
Yeah.
You can come to the class and learn a lot, get all the nuts and bolts, and still spend way less than if you actually hired a contractor to do it.
Yeah. Well, and what's great about it is, so you're the individuals that are essentially selling the tools and everything to do it, but then also I'm going to teach you to do it. And I'll bet I'm assuming you guys have customer service. So if somebody were to buy the product and maybe have like a minor issue, could they call?
Absolutely. That is one of our biggest things. And I mean, we say this every class, like this is not where it ends. Like this is a partnership. This isn't just a come to our class, pay the money, and then
that's awesome.
It. So
I don't even look at them as a supply house. I guess somebody said the other day, like you pay for friendships, you pay for relationships older in life. Like it doesn't end at the classroom. I look at Deco-Crete as an educational platform.
Yeah.
I've always looked at them as they give back a lot. Do I shop around price? Maybe if I'm buying product, but not really. Because it's almost like you owe them back, like after leaving the class.
Yeah.
Because you do offer a lot of stuff that there's really, as far as education, like there's some private guys here and there, but on the scale that you guys do education, you guys really don't have a whole lot. You don't have any competition.
Right, and there might be people that might have
on a smaller
longer,
scale,
for one specific aspect of decorative concrete. But there's not a lot of companies that offer the broad scope of epoxy and concrete countertops and stamped concrete and concrete overlays, vertical concrete. We have a specific class for every one of those things. So I'm not going to say we're the best at every facet, but we probably have the most to offer overall.
Yeah. Well, and from a homeowner who's finding like the YouTube videos, I mean, obviously, like, where else am I going to go? Like, I'm watching the guy use this.
Do you
it's
get
got
people
the name
that,
on it? Where else would I go? Right?
No, and there's not a ton of other companies that put out that kind of content as far as we do. There's like concrete on YouTube has become very trendy in the last couple of years.
It is.
But most of the channels out there that are big are contractors. It's a lot.
They're so much different.
It's kind of more entertainment than it is how-to knowledge. So
that's exactly
we're kind of on a little different wavelength than those channels are, and we all work together. But no, we kind of, that is our thing, is we're the how-to channel.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Like, it's kind of like I think of like you're like what Crutchfield and some of these other companies like. I think of Crutchfield for car stereos. Like I would always buy car stereos from them because. Not because they were $5 less or $10 or whatever less than the
they weren't
but
typically.
Like I knew they had amazing support and they had all these tutorials.
Yes.
And like that. So
I mean, you open up the box, there's a CD, or you open up the box. Well, back when that was a thing. when we went back to the library to
walk
use the
down
internet.
the street now and ask some kids what CDs are, and they're going to look at
they're
you
not
like,
going to know.
Like you're crazy.
They're not going to know.
I'm not sure if it'll pick up on that or not. When you're talking,
I can hear him really well.
Okay, cool.
really well. Yeah, I can hear him well.
But what I was gonna say is, do you get regular homeowners that come that have a project they're interested in doing themselves
to the training classes?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This happens.
What's the percentage, would you say?
Like I said, it overall throughout the year, like maybe 80-20, maybe even more like 85-15. And I'm making these numbers up. I don't have anything.
So not a huge amount, but mostly are contractors.
Mostly contractors, or maybe some people that are a little bit older in life. They've had a carpenter business for a while, and they just want to try something new. Just something kind of cool.
My dad would love this.
Yeah.
Like my dad would love this because he does like what he's picked up every single conceivable thing you could possibly have, from beekeeping to forging knives.
Oh,
so
no,
honestly,
that's cool.
Safer beekeeping.
So no, that'd be super. I guarantee you, he would love that course.
Again, it's a small investment, and it's like, hey, you know what? If you don't end up grabbing onto it, you had fun for a couple days.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun in our classes. That's this is something I learned as a snowboard instructor. As long as people are having fun.
That's all you need.
They do need to learn something, but as long as they're having fun, that's what it's all about.
That's absolutely right.
Good food. We try to go above and beyond. Just it's the overall experience, I suppose, that we're trying to create, to where when they leave, they're not only confident to do what they've just learned or to go get started, but they just had so much fun while they're there. And I have a ton of fun. Like when that training class starts, I'm gonna be honest. Like I am the most myself that I could possibly be. I don't even think about anything. I am just in the zone once that.
There's got to be like an adrenaline rush with it too. Like 100%. Endorphins are flowing, adrenaline's going. And you probably when you're done teaching, you're probably just like, Wow, that was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are my most fun days of the
Yeah.
year. Are those actual leading up is a lot of work. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. The
Oh,
setup and it can be stressful,
I
but
can only imagine.
once 8 o'clock hits on that day, I'm in my world. So it's so much fun.
You know, and this is just a minor set. It'd be fun to do like one for like even like a promotional one for like kids to make like a little thing.
Yeah,
you know,
and we actually have done that. We have. So this goes back quite a few years where our owner Jason, he actually invited a local class to come in for just a couple hours, and we just made a bunch of cool stuff. You know,
that'd be
we had
super cool.
a little talk for him. And that was quite a few years ago. But now in the last 2, maybe 3 years, we've actually have what we call our career day, which we invite vocational schools in.
Yes.
We jump it around from our different locations. And this past year it was in Orville, and there was 3 or 4 vocational schools. There's like 150 kids that come in that are in the construction program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's a half day thing. Obviously, it can't be long, but they all come in, and all this stuff that we've been talking about, we have every little facet, a little station set up. They walk around, they get to pour concrete, they get to carve concrete, they get to know about concrete countertops. And it's like if it exposes even just a couple of those kids to the possibilities, and maybe now they want to get into decorative concrete, it makes concrete cool. Because concrete is just, I mean, the whole reason for concrete is to function.
Yeah.
The whole reason for a driveway is so you can drive on something that's not mud, and it's supposed to just work. Where decorative concrete is all visual. So you still have the functionality of concrete, but now it's looking cool. It's looking like something else.
Yeah.
And so it just exposes a lot of that. So we're still pouring concrete, but now we can be passionate about it.
So when you say it looks like something else, what's like the craziest thing you can make it look like?
Craziest thing, I'm really impressed with the wood textures right now.
Oh, I've seen that.
The wood textures are just amazing because, stone is stone, which is similar to concrete, and it looks real, but the wood textures, and I'm telling you, this was not like this when I got into this thing.
No.
It was like there was maybe a couple stamps out there that looked like wood,
but
they were limited. I'm not saying they weren't realistic, but they just weren't as cool as they are now. Now there's so many textures that you can actually stamp concrete with, but people have gotten so good at carving vertical concrete to make it look like wood, where a lot of times people don't. They freak out whenever you tell them it's actually concrete.
That's so cool.
Even concrete overlays that you're not using stamps for, literally a hand trowel is all you need, and you can make that texture in. This is something I've gotten into the last couple of years because it's become a popular thing, is those wood grain overlay floors.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, that's not something we did back in the day, and I didn't know a ton about it, but we started getting this feedback from the training classes, like, we want to learn wood grain floors. So I took it upon myself. I'm like, I better learn how to create wood grain textures out of thin overlays. And once I started playing around with that, it is just so much fun. And so literally a trowel, maybe a brush, it's all you need. And so that was what I would say is probably my favorite thing right now.
That's so cool. I love that. So when you say the troweling, is it like a specific trowel, like that has the pattern on it that you kind of move?
No, it is literally a pool trowel that people use to trowel swimming pools with.
Really?
But if you hold it a certain way and drag it a certain way, and you just know how to manipulate the material, you can literally make it look like wood. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. Right. And anybody can do this. This is not like a hard thing to do. It's just a matter of dedicating a little bit of time and a small amount of money. You could literally make something the size of this table, a board, and trowel that thing out, make a texture, and then do the same thing again afterwards. And then just keep coating this board over and over and over again, and now you've learned so much from literally a piece of MDF board that you paid $25 for in a bag of mix.
So you hear that, guys? All you need is a trowel and a square, and you can learn how to do this.
As a matter of fact.
That's where it starts. And several trips back to the store.
And several trips to Deco. You got to go to
Deco-Crete's
Deco,
kind of
man.
like Home Depot. You can never get all you need in one trip. It's like when I do a plumbing job, that is a guaranteed 5 trips to Lowe's.
Oh, guaranteed.
And you still
Every
don't
time.
have what you need.
I hate it.
It sucks. I've got so many bags of extra plumbing parts at home that you plan on taking back, but they're just end up sitting there.
You have a duffel bag full of plumbing parts too. This is good to know because I as well have this and it's literally like a small duffel bag. It's just like that small plumbing bag.
So I'm not quite that organized. Mine are still in the Lowe's bags, just all sitting
just all around the house. That's great.
Maybe every 3 years I'm like, need one part. And it's like, let's go check out the extra
you remember
parts.
the pile of Lowe's bags.
Because by the time you're done with the project and you want to take the stuff back, it's like you don't have the receipt anymore. Anyways, that's a great example.
And so you so getting into all this, I mean, I know we're really hitting the concrete really hard, but there's one thing that I know Nick wanted to talk about was the expo, right?
Yeah, so timeline. There I go. That's how I talk. Timeline. You were doing we'll just nickname them mini classes when you guys were in the original Orville location. And at the time, it was a building Jason had purchased and was like leasing space out to other tenants to kind of
Correct.
pay for his spot.
He bought that property. He built that building, which was twice as big as Deco-Crete needed at that time.
Correct.
So yes, we occupy. It's actually funny when you walk through there and you see how small the space was that we used to occupy.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So yes, you're correct about that.
So there you were doing the mini classes, and at some point you wanted to do an expo.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come up? And do you remember the first one?
Oh yeah.
Because you're probably this one coming up this coming month.
2 weeks away.
2 weeks away.
Literally 2 weeks away from today.
Yeah, 2 weeks away from today is so large. It's at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
It's not in the Hall of Fame. It's in the Hall of Fame Village. So
Hall of Fame
there,
Village.
there is a sports complex like in the village there. You can see the hall. It's right by the Hall of Fame, and it's like 100,000 square foot facility. And so yes, it's right beside it.
Okay, so the first one, I'm so intrigued as to like how did you make predictions as to how much tables should we rent, who's going to show up as far as your suppliers. What was that conversation like? How did you get started in doing an event like that? And really, I'm trying to think, is there any other event you kind of copied from?
There is. There's an event in, gosh, I'm going to screw this up, somewhere up in the Midwest, Minnesota,
So you went to it?
I hadn't actually been there. It was actually just, we had this idea for a couple years, just based off of the Artistry in Concrete this all started at the Artistry in Concrete.
Well, at this point, you had such a nice portfolio of people interested in the education, because you would do a couple classes a winter, and then the next year it kind of adds and adds and adds, and you're getting people from out of state, and you're like, hey, 1 year let's just have one big party and call it an expo. Let's do it in the winter when these guys are available, and then from there, I guess explain from the Orville, and then how you added on the stores to Cleveland, Orville, now Columbus and Cincinnati, which is insane to watch, and how that even happened. I don't even know if we have enough time in this show to talk about that, but I guess let's focus on the expo and how that started, where it started, and where it's at now.
Yeah, so it started in Orville, and it just started as we want to have a place to showcase some concrete artistry. We want to have a place to have vendors, kind of like a mini trade show.
Yep.
And we want to involve some education, and we want it to be completely free. Now, it's not free anymore. It was free at that time.
It's very
cheap. It's
very
cheap, but it's not completely free anymore. So we basically put this together. It was almost like, a lot of supply stores to kind of do their open house, so to speak. But there was a supply store up in, again, the Midwest somewhere. I can't remember, Minnesota or Wisconsin or something. And we hadn't actually been there, but we just based off of some conversation with some of our suppliers. And they were like, this is kind of how they do it. And we looked at some pictures. And we had always planned on going to that show to check it out, but we never actually did that. And so we just kind of just wung it and put it together. We were just hoping that year that we might get like maybe 100 attendees. We were thinking 80, 100, that would be great. Well, it turns out like 350 people showed up that year, which just blew us away. I still remember.
There wasn't enough food. There wasn't enough porta-johns.
Anything. And not only did that many people show up, but we sold so much that day.
I know.
We were thinking like, wow, we can make this show even better yet, because having that income coming in, it's like, man, like we're just going to dump this back into the show. And so that was year one.
And then we kind of make it so they make a sale, like discounted, show only
so you have a promo
prices
code or something for people to attend the
It's
show.
like the stuff that's in the warehouse that you don't want to throw away.
Well,
Like,
that stuff's super cheap.
Yeah.
That's on the clearance table. But even the actual, stuff that's brand new, that's on our shelves, we actually work with our vendors and get them to offer a discount to us, and then we'll double the discount to the customer. And so sometimes you're getting stuff 25% off or something like that to the customer.
And also too, like I follow a lot of these artists online, and I look forward to because there's one time a year I get to actually go and talk and BS with them, and I think a lot of contractors are attracted to the show for that very reason. Like, oh, I hope I see this guy here or that guy there.
Absolutely.
It's a very good networking because there's so much to learn in this industry and trade. It's never end. You're never gonna know everything, including yourself. Like you learn stuff all the time.
I learn stuff every day, every training class, but especially at the expo. So that was always number one.
Tips, tricks, all that. Yeah.
Number one, there's gotta be some badass artistry there. Like that is what we want. We are not like it's gotta be cool. People have gotta want to come back. So we did that, and then I'm gonna say year 2 it moved to like maybe 500 people, maybe 600. It just kept growing over and over.
Mushroom.
To where last year they rented a fairground.
Yeah, so in the Wayne County Fairgrounds, there's a nice little event center there. It's actually it was the perfect
great.
setting.
Yeah.
Just wasn't big enough. The building isn't big enough to have it, so we still ended up setting up tents.
Now they're just. I mean, this thing's gonna be huge this year. It's awesome.
It is.
People are coming in from all around the world.
Yeah, we have somebody from
different countries.
In India, there's somebody from India that's coming in.
Wow.
We got a guy
crazy.
from Ireland. Actually, the guy from Ireland was there a couple years ago. We have a vendor from the UK. That's our first international vendor is going to be this year. I'm not even sure exactly what they do, but yeah, it's pretty incredible. So it just
We call them England.
England.
So what? So what does it cost for just an individual to get in and see the expo?
$25.
$25.
If you buy a ticket now online, now
So
if you
where-
don't buy
where
a
can I
ticket
do
by
that?
next March 8th, next Friday, that is the last day to buy a ticket online. And after that, you just have to show. You can still get in the show. You just got to show up at the door, and it's going to be $50.
And then where online would someone buy that ticket?
All they got to do is go to decorativeconcreteexpo.com, and
Okay.
everything is right there. There's multiple packages. Anything from a $25 basic just gets you in the door. Now, I will say that if you buy that ticket, it gets you in the door. You also get a $25 voucher for product. So if you buy something, it's essentially free, if you will. You get a couple drink tickets because alcohol is definitely a part of it. Beer,
Yeah,
people
great.
like drinking beer at concrete shows.
They
So
do.
we also
These guys know how to party. Let me tell you.
we know our crowd. We know our crowd.
Now, and you guys also, I mean, this is all fun and party and all that's fun, but you guys also do something called Patios for Patriots.
Patios for
right?
Patriots, and that
What's
they have a
the-
presence at the expo as well. They do a big raffle, and the raffle, 100% of those proceeds go straight to the veteran that's getting the patio.
Who started that? Jason.
Jason started that, and man, I'm drawing a blank. I want to say somewhere in the 2015-16 range. I could be a little bit off on the year. But, we do believe very strongly, of what the military does for this country, and we just want to support those who serve because that
Amen.
is so important to us. And what do we do best? We pour decorative concrete. So how can we help a veteran who may have some PTSD? Maybe he, served multiple terms. Maybe he was injured in the line of duty. And so I'm not a part of the selection, but people nominate veterans. There's a selection committee.
Can they go to your website for that?
It's actually patiosforpatriots.org.
Okay,
They have their own website. I'm sure there's a link on our website as well. So you nominate a veteran, they get selected, and the one that gets selected, we literally show up, we start digging dirt, we start setting forms, and we and ultimately end up pouring a patio, a sidewalk, whatever they might need. There's also, there was one a couple years ago where, he had really bad PTSD, and water was a big part of his therapy, so we made a water feature for him where there was a little river, and it flowed off a rock, and so we try to make it personal. These are probably $15,000 to $20,000 projects. And it is 100% free to the veteran. I'm making that number up.
It's conservative because for tax reasons, because I was a part of Keep Back and Beautiful for 13 years. And it was similar, similar in theory. It was a backyard makeover. It was a raffle. All the money raised for the raffle tickets went towards the organization. And there was one winner a year, and we as landscapers, there was like 5, 6, 7 companies that came together, and it was cool because I could work next to, I could see how other people work, and
Sure.
But we hooked them up, like these contractors that donate their time, they have no problem doing donation of time and. The material, you get material supplied by vendors.
Deco-Crete obviously supplies a lot of the material.
Yeah.
And, not 100% of the concrete gets donated. That depends on the ready-mix plant. That depends on where the job's at. But usually a decent amount of the concrete gets donated by the ready-mix plant. The labor is all donated 100% free from the contractor, as well as, Jason would, I will go out. He pays me to go out there and work that day on a job.
And we pay, in regards to the totally separate, this is Keep Back and Beautiful. It doesn't. It's that part's not even around anymore. Keep Back and Beautiful still does exist, but we don't do the backyard makeovers anymore. But I was very involved in that, and I could tell you we did 10,000 for tax reasons, but there was never a job that if I put a number on it would be 10 grand. It was always 50.
It's like
Sometimes
selling your
they
car
got
to
out
your
of
best
hand.
friend, you know?
Yeah.
When I say 15 to 20 grand, I'm talking materials. Like that's not.
Oh,
even
just
touching,
materials.
that's not
Yeah,
even touching
but
labor,
if they hired somebody to do this in a backyard, easy 30 to 50,000.
So all right. So
Per job.
You can nominate people.
Here, John.
for this,
correct.
So you can nominate people. Sorry.
I took the extra seat today, so I apologize.
No, you're totally good. You're totally good. So you can nominate people. Is there any other way that people can give? Like, can people donate like their time to help with this?
They can
or?
donate their time. That's going to depend on location, how
Of
far
course.
people are willing to travel. But all I can say is go to patiousforpatriots.org. There's a message board, just like a contact us email on there. Just tell them, hey, I would love to help. If you're looking to donate money, you can do that right on the website.
Okay.
If you're, if you own a business and you want to donate something that your business does, again, I just contact them, leave them a message on the board there, and they'll get back to you.
Yeah, because
And-
there's landscaping. When all this is torn up and the patios popped in, blah blah blah. There's sod that is laid down at the end.
Yeah.
You know,
Because when we
truck
leave
traffic,
that job,
yeah.
it's done. We're
Yeah.
not leaving bare dirt.
So
and
there's
things like
there's
that.
landscapers that get involved. There's electricians that get involved because
Yeah.
there's new electricity for this kind of stuff. Outdoor lighting, you name it.
Patio furniture.
Patio furniture.
yeah.
Like there's so much that you don't think of that to make this backyard escape to where they come home and you pull the truck away and it's blah blah.
Yeah.
Like it's furniture, outdoor lighting, electrical contractor. You got plumbing involved, irrigation. If there's an existing system, we got to move it or add it. I mean, there's pond supplies. There's all these people. It's so great. There is some great people still left in this world.
There are
that
absolutely.
But there's true leaders that have to really just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really like about Deco-Crete is who else just creates this organization and does it.
Yeah.
Because you're in orbit around good quality people. Like, and that's the expo. That's why I love going is meeting the other contractors. Everyone's good people there.
Yeah, I think I would like to go to this.
You
should-
To be honest, I really do, because I never thought in a million years that I would be this interested in decorative concrete. But no, it is honestly, it's interesting, and I love the organization. I mean, everything from so we need to figure out this problem where there's all of this demand for all of these things, and there's no one really supplying it, and it sucks. Okay, well, now we need to teach other contractors how to do this amazing thing that we do. So now we got that down. Now we have to teach homeowners how to do it via, social media. And then not only that, to have the patios for patriots and really just give back to the community as a whole is amazing. So, so where can I donate again? What's the website?
Patioforpatriots.org is the website. Now, if you come to the expo, or anybody who's coming to the expo, you can also donate and get something in return, because that's what the raffle is all about. That's actually we raise a ton of money during that expo.
Oh, so the raffle
with raffle tickets. And this can be anything from concrete tools, and I don't even know what's all on the list this year, but there's tons of stuff in the raffle. It's I don't know what the term for this is, but you go to their booth. You buy whatever raffle ticket you want.
Yeah.
You walk around to the different vendor booths.
Silent auction.
You drop your
silent auction.
Silent auction. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Drop your tickets in the bucket. They get picked at the end of the day, in the middle of the day, Friday.
Wow.
There's also I want to say at least 3 guns that are getting raffled off.
Wow.
Now that's a different ticket. You have to buy just a gun raffle ticket, so that's a
sure.
little different. Also, there's some decorative concrete pieces that we've made in the last year that you can win, as well as some of the artists. If somebody's doing a smaller project and it can be transported, they'll actually donate that to the raffle as well. So that is huge for Patios for Patriots is that raffle, and you get something. Well, maybe you get something in return.
Maybe you do.
And the golf outing. We also have a yearly golf outing that's usually in August, and so that's another. Those are our 2 big fundings for the year.
All proceeds go to
100%
Patios for Patriots.
100% of them.
Wow. Wow.
100%.
That's fantastic.
So come to the expo. So
I want to go. I want to go.
It's a lot of work.
legitimately want to
yeah,
go.
and it's what, I don't know, 20 minutes from here where it's gonna be. I don't even know.
Jeff, you hyped me up, man. I want to do it.
If somebody wants to ask me what do I do for Deco-Crete, I mean, I kind of already explained this, but I feel like my number one job for Deco-Crete is to get people excited. Like that's
Okay.
my thing. So that's good. I just did my job right there.
Yeah, you totally did. You totally did. There's a couple other things that I want to hit on too. I would like a beer. Another one.
Who was your girlfriend last?
Come here. Hey, Matt, you want to grab
Oh, yes,
Hey,
sir.
Matt.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Thank you.
You guys run a fine show here. I love this. I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It is fun.
It's a ton of fun for me.
I mean, and that's the whole point of it. It's just legitimately to have a good time, talk about what you do. So other things I want to talk about.
Who's Jeff?
Who's Jeff?
Let's
Yeah, no, that's where I'm getting.
Pretty
So-
much like mind numb over the concrete. I think a lot of the viewers, including myself, we've watched so many educational stuff on concrete. Like, who's Jeff? Like,
Yeah.
who? Like, tell me like what your hobbies are. We already went over like how you met Jason and all them. Do you guys talk out of work or you just at work?
Not a ton. I
Yeah.
will say that I've
Working
known
relationship?
Jason for a long time, even way before I started working for
Yeah.
him. But I mean,
What do you do when you
Not
leave?
a lot.
What do you do nights and weekends? What do you
nights and weekends. Well, the first thing I do when I get home is I have a dog. So you know,
Okay.
Okay.
that's a big part of it. Is there's obviously looks like we got another round
Yeah.
in here. Nice.
Oh yeah.
I'm a
Coming
beer
in.
guy.
Coming in hot, baby.
He's a beer guy.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. All right, so we got a dog. So what's the dog's name?
Poncho.
Poncho.
He is a mini golden retriever. Which a lot of people have never seen a mini golden retriever, but it just looks like a golden retriever.
What is it
He's
a
just
mix
smaller.
of?
So they mix just golden retrievers and they some of them are Cocker Spaniel and some of them are King Charles Spaniel. They claim that he's got a lot of King Charles Spaniel,
Okay.
although just by the way he looks, to me, he's a Cocker Spaniel. Which
Okay.
I was honestly kind of like, I love both of those dogs.
Yeah,
both
who
Golden
cares?
Retrievers and Cocker Spaniels. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a mix between the both. He's like a 43-pound dog, and
Okay.
other than that,
That's a
looks like
perfect
Yeah,
size.
it's a perfect size, right in the
It is.
medium-sized dog, and
Right
so-
there in the middle, baby.
right in the middle.
Yeah.
So when I leave work, that's the first thing I do.
Okay.
Let the dog out, get him some exercise.
Yeah.
Feed the dog, all that. On your average weeknight, I will say I don't have the most exciting life in the world when it comes
That's
to
okay.
that. It's just home life, trying to take care of the house.
Dude, that's all of our lives, brother.
Keep up on stuff. Weekends, it depends on the time of year.
Okay, so what are you doing this time of year?
This
Winter's
time
cold,
of year,
what do we got?
well, normally this time of year, I spend a lot of time snowboarding. Like I said, I was a snowboard instructor when I was younger, and I've been passionate about snowboarding. I was into snowboarding even way before I started doing decorative concrete, but I probably got into snowboarding simultaneously as I started to pour concrete, right at the end of high school. So this winter's been a little different because
It has
it's been
been.
warm.
Oh my gosh, it has been.
So I haven't spent quite as much time snowboarding,
Yeah.
but that's my number one thing in the winter. I'll be honest, I don't love cold weather. I don't like getting cold,
Nope.
but when I'm
Nope.
out snowboarding, I don't really seem to bother
you don't
me. I
get cold snowboarding.
snowboarding.
You
and
do
so
not get cold snowboarding.
It's just different. Try to take a couple trips to Colorado every year.
Nice.
And I will say I didn't make it to Colorado this year, and I probably won't. But that's normally a couple times a winter thing for me. Is to do either Colorado, sometimes Vermont. I don't get back up there very often. It's like now. When I was younger, Vermont made a lot of sense because it's a feasible drive.
Yeah.
But now that it's like, I don't know, I'm older and, an airline ticket isn't that bad. And
What are you doing this weekend?
Probably not snowboarding.
Nick's going to
because
take you to
it's
Colorado
supposed
for
to be-
sure.
Well, if you want to do that, now,
Let's do it.
if I can find a babysitter for my dog, I'm all about this.
I got dogs
Great-
I'll babysit,
perfect,
brother. I got a
perfect.
treater.
No.
I'll do it.
Great transition into my next question.
Yeah.
You have nobody that could watch the dog. Nobody. Who? And I think you know where this question's gonna go. Who's the lovely, lucky lady? Everybody wants to know who this is. New girlfriend? Long-term girlfriend that you've kept off of social media? Is it your wife? Are you married? Do you have kids? Does she have kids?
I'm definitely not married.
Okay.
I've never been married.
Okay.
I don't have any kids. I have been seeing a girl recently. Yes.
Okay.
You are
Congratulations.
Correct. You are correct about that.
How did this come about? And where'd you guys meet? How much do you want to really say?
Oh boy, you're really putting me on the spot here now.
Say as much and as little as
As
you
much
want.
as little as you want. Actually online. That might sound a little bit lame.
It
but,
doesn't.
You know,
no, that's how people meet these days,
It
bro.
is. It is.
Does she have any kids?
Yes, she does. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
2.
2.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Teenagers.
Kids are great.
Teenagers. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, teenagers are even better.
Yeah. Well, that whole part of it is new to me, but. I was a teenager once, so I can identify.
Yeah.
Really. In fact, on a lot of levels, I'm probably still there. So.
Probably still a teenager.
So what's it like dating? Do you guys like once a week? Are you guys hanging out all the time? Are you living together?
Definitely not living together, but
Is there talk about that?
Nick,
And
you're
again,
gonna get this guy in a
I was
fight.
gonna say, holy cow!
When
she
this
might be
comes
listening to
out-
this. She might be listening to this.
She's been, why aren't we living together?
I want to know. The audience wants to
The
know.
audience wants to know. What was the question again?
We want to know what you do in the springtime for fun.
No, what'd you guys do for Valentine's Day?
Actually, you know what? It was funny because.
And if you say concrete, I'm gonna scream.
no,
right.
it wasn't.
Did you make
concrete.
her a pink concrete heart?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Because
Well-
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not Valentine's. I'm like some of those holidays is like I'm a big holiday guy, like 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. But
You just
those,
skipped
what I
over
call-
Valentine's Day,
we
but you do know you have a girlfriend now.
Didn't skip over.
Okay.
But
So
it
that's
wasn't
gotta-
actually planned that way. We actually did plan on meeting up that night, but neither of us really realized it was Valentine's Day until like a couple days before. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Dude, it was like a
This
Thursday.
is something like
Yeah.
that. But, and so, anyways, this whole thing is kind of new to me, and
new?
so
Alright.
this isn't too far evolved yet. So
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
You're
We'll see
having,
what happens.
You're having fun.
I have
So
absolutely.
let me ask you
absolutely.
this:
Is
you're
she
happy?
gonna be at the
Yes,
expo?
yes.
Perfect. Happiness. is the
Probably
key.
not, because there's a little bit of a distance. She kind of lives the opposite direction, so
Okay. Okay.
Like we're talking several hours.
south from the expo. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because I live about an hour from where the expo is going to be at.
Okay.
Okay, but you guys live near each other?
Like an hour apart. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
That's not bad. That's a car ride, bro.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine.
It's a car
It's fine.
ride.
It's fine. So,
And honestly-
hey, everybody, like I said, don't read too much into this whole thing. This
No.
isn't, this isn't like a.
She's a good-looking woman, from what I could
Yeah,
see.
absolutely.
What?
Oh my god.
I, as far as level of like intruding, I think I've been behaving.
Yeah. Well, yep. You
I
have
don't know.
this.
I may have said, boy, I don't know. I should probably listen to this before this goes out.
You
No,
know,
we're good.
here. Let me tell you something I learned about. I'm a married man, and I've been happily married for 10 years. Right.
That's
and
a decent amount of time.
I think we've been together for about 14. And I'll tell you what. Sometimes it is the less you say, the better you are.
Boy, that's tough for me because I'm not one I'm known to say a lot.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
So,
okay.
Besides, we're like an hour deep. I don't
But
think
honestly-
she's probably not listening anymore anyway. So
If you're happy and she's happy, and that's really all that fucking matters, bro.
Sure. No,
there's
and-
nothing else that matters beyond that. But so I do actually want to know though, because I feel like you have more hobbies than
Sure.
just snowboarding.
sure, absolutely.
I do want to know.
So springtime hobbies would definitely be bass fishing is a big one.
All right, so you got a boat?
I got a boat.
You got a boat?
Yep, a bass boat. I mean, now don't get me wrong. This is not a large boat. Nothing crazy.
Like a
It's-
bass tracker?
Yeah, bass tracker. Yep, a
Nice.
16-foot bass tracker.
Oh, that's a great boat.
So not far from here, Portage Lakes.
Yeah.
Nimisila Reservoir. Nimisila would be my number one go-to spot. Most Sunday mornings
Where is
you will find me.
Nimisila?
It
I
is
don't even know
right
where that
beside
is.
Portage. It almost touches Portage.
Oh, really?
At one point.
Okay.
Like the south end of Turkey Foot almost touches.
Okay.
Nimi. So it is. I want to say it's rated as the third best bass lake in Ohio.
It's not.
How did I not know this?
From here, it's like
It's not far.
20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not
How
far.
did I even not know that this exists? Well, I
Yeah.
don't have a boat.
Right,
So that's
and
something.
so, but the thing about Nimi is it's electric only, and so
Okay.
that's huge to me because Portage is actually the number 2 rated bass lake in Ohio. But I actually fished Nimi way more. Not only Portage is a really weedy lake, which can be effective. Like if you can drag them out of the weeds, Portage is actually a
Sure.
great place to catch fat bass. I mean, there's.
So do you normally do top water there, or what do you do?
It depends. I'm definitely a big Senko fisherman, or stick bait, whatever you want to call it. So
Sure.
a lot of stick baits, jerk baits, super flukes, things like that. Now you can drag a super fluke up on top across the patch if you want. Depends on time of year, depends on the time of day, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you like my number one go-to at Nemi. Just because
Why? Why not?
It's not because of me. It's because of my fishing buddy. And he's pretty secretive about this stuff.
Okay.
But the cool thing about Nemi is because it's electric only. There's no motor, so it's incredibly peaceful to start off with. It's a very clean. It's a clear water lake, so the fish are finicky. You've got to run leaders. You can't if you just run a straight braid, you're probably not going to catch much at Nemi because of how clear the water is.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So and I do fish braid exclusively, but I'm generally always running a fluoro or a mono leader. But
I have no idea what you guys are talking
So
about.
let me ask you this. So would you rather? Because I'll share what I think. Sure. But would you rather go largemouth bass fishing or walleye fishing?
To me that's largemouth bass.
I'm with you, brother.
Every day. And I love walleye fishing. I'm not set up for it. I don't have a walleye boat.
That's
a lot
big
farther to go.
undertaking because I did that twice.
I find it to be boring.
And the second time I got really sick because Lake
man.
Erie
is
where this goes down, walleye
Yeah.
fishing. And if you haven't done it before, it's really, really fun.
It
But
is.
You got to be with some dudes that do it all the time because the sport of setting up everything and trolling, that's a skill set in itself outside of catching them.
When you got like 4 or 5 lines out of each side, it can be overwhelming.
It's very much a team thing.
No, it
Well,
is.
and that's what you're paying the captain for is to have the gear to set it up so that like literally you and your buddies just go out there, have a couple of brewskis, and catch some big old fish.
Yep, and it is. But if you're
I like
asking me what
steelhead
I would
out there,
rather
though.
do,
Steelhead's so much fun to catch.
and I've never actually
Really?
not in Lake Erie. But I will say this. That even though I don't do a lot of walleye fishing in Lake Erie, don't overlook Lake Erie as a bass lake.
Really?
You can catch... actually, the biggest largemouth of my life was out of Lake Erie. Or I suppose you'd say Lake Erie. I don't know if you're familiar with East Harbor or not. But that channel that goes from East Harbor to the main lake.
Yeah.
Right in that channel there is in like, Rod, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this. I'm about to spill the beans.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Rod.
Radio dumpster exclusive.
We love you, buddy.
That channel, and this isn't a secret because you go there on a weekend, it is just lined with bass
Is it
boats.
lined up?
But that channel right there, on both sides of it along them rocks, you can just drag largemouth after largemouth out of those rocks. And yeah, I caught a 5-pounder out of there not the other day. It was
That's
like
a big
2 or 3 years ago. Biggest largemouth of my life because Nemi, you're talking, 3-4 pounders are good at Nemi.
Yeah.
There's 8 pounders in Nemi, but it's, I've never caught one that big.
Yeah.
There. And so, that is a great place to fish bass. Also, just all along that like from that channel, like all the way to Marblehead.
Okay.
If you just cruise along the shoreline, you can just pull largemouth like crazy out of them rocks.
Oh, man.
And you don't need a big boat. I've taken my tracker on Lake Erie along there, and it's not. I mean, you couldn't.
You're not going deep.
You're not going deep, and you wouldn't do it every day. There's days you need to stay off.
Sure.
There, but it gets overlooked, and it's so much fun up there.
Wow, I honestly didn't even know. I've gone to Lake Erie countless times, but it's always been for walleye fishing and then steelhead. Which, all right, so my opinion. This is just my opinion. So I think that walleye fishing is boring AF.
I do like.
And my
trolling.
reason is you're
it's
trolling.
who you're with, though.
No, it's
like
not.
if you go out with these 2 twins that I know, it's a good time. And it's all also weather related because any sort of disturbance out there, Lake Erie's is
just
totally
reeling in.
Yeah,
This is all you. This is it.
true.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of sport to it, I guess.
Okay.
I will say this is kind of like bobber fishing.
It is.
I don't really bobber fish because to me fishing is like
I got
casting
oh man, because when you cast and you get it right in that pocket, right where you want it, and then you just go, all right, don't lose the pocket, don't lose the pocket, don't lose the pocket, and then all of a sudden you get that hit, and then you're fighting and
there's nothing else like it.
So but you don't get that with walleye. What happens is it goes oh, fish on. Oh, cool. Cool, man. Okay, so all right. I don't know. Anyway, it's just a matter of opinion, and everybody has their own opinion.
Sure.
Mine is I like largemouth, and I like smallmouth.
The same way. And I will say I've never been smallmouth fishing on Lake Erie. That's something I want to do.
Okay.
Really bad because in the last, 15 years or so, the walleye population is incredible in Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And it's starting to become one of the premier, smallmouth lakes around here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would love to go smallmouth fishing in Lake Erie. But again, for me, it's a little bit, I live like an hour south of here.
Yeah.
So for me, Lake Erie is a good 2.5 hours. So it's just, it's a little ways off. So
Okay.
that's why Portage, Nimmy, there's a lake near me called Pleasant Hill Lake, which, is nothing great, but I'll go there if I don't have to. It's actually the closest lake to me. So those are my main go-to spots, and it's unless there's somebody with me that is adamant about something else, I'm casting for largemouth.
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, absolutely. So, all right. So do you have anything different for summertime? Anything
Yeah,
else to do
golf.
for summer? Golf. Yeah.
Definitely
Golf. Yes.
Now
Where do
he's-
you play?
That I play at a place called the Pines a lot.
Oh, yeah,
because
okay. I
it's
know the
on my
Pines.
way home from work.
Sure.
There's also a place really close to where I live called Fire Ridge, which is, I want to say, it might not be where I played my first round of golf, but it's where I played most of my golf when I was younger. So I play there a lot, and then outside of that, there's just it just depends. There's my favorite golf course in Ohio would be Deer Ridge, out near Lexington.
Okay.
I say it's in Lexington. It's not in Lexington. It's probably Belleville officially.
That's awesome.
And then, wherever. I will say that I don't play as much golf as I once did. There was a little stretch, like in my 30s, where I was basically lived at golf courses.
Yeah.
And I played like 3 or 4 times a week. Now I'm more of a 2 or 3 times a month, kind of golfer. And that part of that's because I've really gotten like more into bass fishing in the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to do a lot of golf and a lot of bass fishing at the same time.
It's
Because
the same season.
when you have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And, you can...
Well, now we're adding a girlfriend into the mix.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
buddy.
Oh, boy.
Gotta
Oh,
have to
boy.
make some compromise.
I don't know.
I she likes to fish. So
Oh, good.
we'll
Good.
see
It
what
probably
happens
wouldn't
there.
work if she did.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
kidding.
But you can maybe play 9 holes of golf after work. But
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But, the days of playing like an 18 on Saturday morning and then another 9 Saturday afternoon and then those days are kind
They're
of over for me,
gone.
and
I'm sorry.
so it is what it is.
So, the expo coming up is in Canton by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What day is it? March
14th and 15th,
March
which is
4th.
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Oh.
To get tickets, you go online to Deco-Crete Supply.
You can go to DecoCreteSupply.com, actually Deco-CreteSupply.com.
It'll get you there.
Click the link, or you can just go right to DecorativeConcreteExpo.com, and that'll
Great.
also get you there.
And it's so funny to see the excitement on John and Matt that was here.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have anything else that you want to add to this?
No, I learned a lot about fishing and concrete today.
Ooh, fishing and concrete.
But to
Yes.
my example, like to my point is
Jeff, the great educator.
Hey, thank you.
Jeff and I have known each other for a very long time, and the whole point of this podcast, the whole motivation behind this podcast is to get guests that are high-performing individuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you would like to be a guest on the show, contact us
Let
at
us know.
Radio Dumpster. You know how to get a hold of us. And, it's coming in here today. It's like, hey, we got a concrete guy, decorative concrete. Knew nothing about it. You guys are clicking.
I wanna
You're
know all
learning,
about it.
And things are in the right
I want to know
direction.
everything there is to know.
Hey, go to Deco-Crete TV on YouTube.
Okay.
Yep,
And
Deco-Crete TV,
there's
YouTube.
Tons of videos on there.
Nice.
You'll see me in a few of them. You'll see Jason in a few of them. And I would say I don't even know what our catalog. We're probably up to about 500 videos at this point. So
Nice.
Last show, we had someone that went in the woods and chased after Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, Grassman, and Dogman.
Bigfoot.
And I missed that, and I'm really sorry. that I was
I've
sick.
actually I don't know much about that kind of stuff, but I've always been fascinated by Bigfoot. So
Yeah, so you don't know what you're going to get on the show. It's
Yeah.
Bigfoot. We had an actress the one time. We had a professional fighter the
Yeah.
other time. Now we've got a concrete expert. Again, if you're a high-performing individual,
Yeah.
we'd love to have you on the show, talk about what you do, and go from there. So with that, I think tonight is a wrap. Thank you for coming on.
Alrighty.
hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Motivation
This was
at your
so much fun.
Motivation at your disposal.
Fishing, man.
Radio
Hey.
Dumpster.
Throw a little golf in the mix too.
Hey, thank you so much
Good
for
luck
coming,
to you,
Jeff. Dude,
and
we
thank
seriously
you.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank
This
you
was
for
so much
coming on.
fun.
All right,
All right.
guys.
Until next time, thank you.
Peace.